Hey guys, how you doing today? So half of the fun of Star Wars is that every celebrity, actor, and their moms want to be in a Star Wars movie. Each film routinely boasts a slew of cameos for us to fan over and search for. The Last Jedi had Princes William and Harry and Tom Hardy as stormtroopers, while Daniel Craig donned the white mask in The Force Awakens. The list of cameos from all the movies is honestly so huge that you should definitely check it out just for fun. Of course, my favorite is the cameo of the Maker himself when George Lucas stood outside the Supreme Chancellor's box at the Opera in Revenge of the Sith. So today, let's look at the top 10 cameos from the Rise of Skywalker. Now, I'm not going to be including the Jedi voices in this list, but I've made a whole other video about them, so you can check that one out. Starting us off in numbers 10 and 9 are Andy Serkis as Supreme Leader Snoke and James Earl Jones as Darth Vader. They each only have a few words in the opening moments of the film as part of Palpatine's mind games with the young Kylo Ren, but their voices have become integral parts of the movies and had to be mentioned to start out, especially with Mr. Jones. Others have come close to mimicking his voice, but no one hits it like he does, so I'm glad they got him for the movie. Coming in at number 8 is one that probably doesn't count as a cameo, but since she is a seasoned actress, I got a kick out of it. It's Shirley Henderson as Babu Frick. Yeah, Babu is voiced by a girl who also happens to be the actress who plays Moaning Myrtle in Harry Potter franchise. Shout out to my Harry Potter channel, Harry Potter Theory. You can find it down below in the description, or just search for it. So that whining voice of Myrtle transferred beautifully to Babu. If any of you recognized her voice during the movie, I'm impressed, and may the Force be with you. In the 7th spot, we have singer Ed Sheeran and possibly Harry Styles as stormtroopers. They aren't the first Brits to have cool cameos, as I mentioned earlier, but Ed Sheeran joins the ranks for his second major franchise cameo in just a few years. Hopefully this stormtrooper fared far better than his Lannister soldier in Game of Thrones, but then again, he seems to be on the snow planet of Kijimi, and that exploded, so maybe not. According to a tweet from Mark Hamill, either Harry Styles also has a cameo as a stormtrooper, or he's just being Mark and tweeting something for fun. Unless we get pics of Harry in costume, it never happened. Next up in 6th place, we have Lin-Manuel Miranda as a resistance fighter. This isn't the Hamilton composer's first foray for the sequel trilogy. He also co-wrote the music we hear playing in Maz Kanata's Cantina on Takodana, and also wrote some of the music we hear during the celebration on Pasana in Episode 9. Look for him during the celebration at the end of the movie and you just may see him. In 5th place, we have a Star Wars legend, Denis Lawson as Wedge Antilles. Lucasfilm teased Wedge's return in the canon books leading up to the movie, and I was really happy to see him again, even if it was just for one shot. And did you know that Denis Lawson is actually Ewan McGregor's uncle? The whole audience cheered in my theater when they saw Wedge back in the gunner's seat. In 4th place, we have the return of one of my personal favorites, Warwick Davis as Wicket. It was a pretty random cameo, but also well-deserved since Ewoks have been the butt of jokes since 1983, when Return of the Jedi came out. Warwick Davis, who plays Wicket in Episode 9, is a longtime Star Wars actor. He originally played Wicket as an 11-year-old in Return of the Jedi. He then has had alien cameos in a number of Star Wars films, including The Phantom Menace, The Force Awakens, and The Last Jedi, so it's really great to see him again. Plus, the young Ewok beside him was played by his 16-year-old son, Harrison Davis, named after one of the actors his father idolized on his first job. Now, let's get into more of the crew cameos. Coming in at 3rd is co-writer Chris Terrio as Aftab Akbar. The Oscar-winning writer didn't just co-write the Rise of Skywalker screenplay with Abrams, he also voiced the son of the legendary Admiral Akbar, who met his fiery doom in The Last Jedi, which was a huge letdown. If you're struggling to remember, Aftab Akbar was the Mon Calamarian who says, "It cannot be! The Emperor is dead!" During the Resistance planning meeting, Terrio said of the role, "You caught it. I love Admiral Akbar. I've loved him since I was a kid, and I definitely went into mourning a bit when Akbar was killed." Well, we all did as well. An early discussion that JJ and I had was that he was a great admiral and leader. Could he too have had a child? That's when Colonel Aftab Akbar came about. It also keeps with a theme that runs throughout the new trilogy. He, much like all his human compatriots, is also trying to live up to the legacy of his father. In the finale, you can see Aftab piloting one of the Resistance fighter ships. I was doing his voice temporarily, and then at a certain point JJ said, "You can just do it." And that was a huge thrill, obviously. Now speaking of JJ, in 2nd place we have the director himself, J.J. Abrams as the little droid Dio. You know, the hairdryer looking one. The filmmaker actually has been in a lot of films, a lot of his own films to be exact, and sometimes even plays himself in films and TV shows, and even taking the minor role of the grocery delivery boy opposite Harrison Ford in 1991's Regarding Henry, which J.J. Abrams wrote back when he was like 12 years old and was credited as Jeffrey Abrams. Seriously, watch the movie. He's so young in it. Now, in episode 9, he's a little older, and he voices the cone-headed unicycle droid Dio, who speaks with words instead of the beeps of R2-D2 and BB-8. He mainly is just a little rolling wheel of nervousness. JJ didn't want to leave it as his voice. Screenwriter Chris Terrio said, "His voice was just in there as temp, and I was convinced after watching a few cuts with JJ's voice as Dio that JJ was just Dio. There was no other possibility. Other actors were considered, but Terrio won the argument to keep it as is because Abrams' anxious politeness cannot be replicated. There's something about the way that JJ pronounces some of those words, like no, thank you, and very kind, thank you. They're so JJ and so Dio, so that stuck around," Terrio said. Now you might be thinking, that has to be the last one. Who can be bigger than the director? Well, the answer is obvious, and it's bigger than the Death Star. It's none other than legendary composer John Williams himself, who plays the Kijimi bartender Oma Trez, complete with a mechanical eye patch. You'll see him right before Poe and the others go in to see Babu Frick. The 87-year-old composer of the Star Wars saga films has 263 musical credits, but never before appeared on screen until The Rise of Skywalker. And as of right now, The Rise of Skywalker will be his last Star Wars film, sadly. Williams doesn't have any lines, but his character's name, Oma Trez, is an anagram for Maestro. The shelves behind him even have things from movies that he's composed, like a hook. So what do you think of the cameos? Did you notice any others that got you excited? Let me know in the comments down below. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, remember, the Force will be with you, always.